Hey everyone, welcome to Surviving and Thriving, where we talk about chronic pain, IC, and a variety of different topics. So, today I want to talk about understanding the vagus nerve. I know I also am releasing another episode that I did this week about the different phases of the nervous system. I kind of dived into that a little bit more in depth about what that could look like for you, what phase you could possibly be in, what phase that I was in and am still working on to get down to the calm state of the nervous system work. But I also mentioned the vagus nerve in that episode, but I said that I would go into more detail in another show, so I figured why not talk about the vagus nerve for a little bit. Before I get started, I just wanted to say I hope, like I said in my other episode, that you're having a wonderful February. It's going so fast. And I don't know about you, but as I've mentioned, I am so ready for spring. I'm just excited for the flowers blooming, to start planting my garden. I've already started spring cleaning. Like, oh my word, it's insane how much cleaning I'm already starting and it's not even March yet. I'm just that excited. I washed the door behind you, the doors, sorry, and was cleaning up a few other windows. I still have a few other windows to go. But as you can tell, our house is a fixer-upper, so I'm cleaning slash renovating and saving up money to renovate, and it's all just a big process. But I'm happy, you know? Our house isn't perfect, but it's home. And it's had so much work done to it in the last 5, going on 6 years that we've lived here. And there's so much more work to do, but I feel like it's never ending. And when you're a middle class person, it's like saving up the money. And I have mentioned that I currently don't have a job due to taking a break from working, and I've been blessed with that. But with that comes sacrifices, obviously, with not working. And I'm grateful to be able to be home, but obviously, some things have to be on hold, but that's okay. I think your mental health comes first. And no matter what that looks like for you, even if you're still working, it's good to find ways to step away and take time for yourself. And that's what I had to do, and that's what I've been doing. And it hasn't even been quite a year yet. I think May will be a year that I've left my job. So it hasn't been that long, but I'm feeling a lot less stressed than I was when I was working. I loved being a preschool teacher and I loved the kids. It was just a lot on my body, especially with going through all this nervous system stuff and still, even now, dealing with chronic pain, chronic stuff, but just knowing that I'm in a much better place than I was when I worked there. And I also have a lot more information. I started my nervous system work when I was at my job, and I started practicing like the breathing techniques and learning more about my nervous system, but that was just kind of the beginning back last February in 2025. That was like the beginning of all of this. So I was still very much in that state where I was just constantly in panic. So now that I'm slowly getting myself back down to a baseline level, I feel a lot better with that. Now, I will say this morning I woke up really early with some burning. And I've been dealing with that like the last few weeks, but that went away for a while whenever I started this. But it is completely normal when you're doing nervous system work, when you have chronic pain, that your symptoms will kind of move around. And I guess that's a sign that your body is trying to calm down and that it's working. So even in those hard times, I try to remember like where I was and where I am now, and just like the knowledge that I have now, because it still sucks. I'm not gonna lie. If you've never had a UTI or you've never felt like a burning pain, men or women, you don't really understand until you go through it, which that's with anything, any symptom, but it's not great. It's very uncomfortable. And I think that's a part of the reason why I had to leave my job too, because the burning would just be so unbearable, and stress was like, I feel like the main cause and still is. So having that stress go down also helped with the symptoms, but I think these last few weeks I've just been extra sensitive. I feel like I'm dealing with normal life things though, nothing like new popped up, but like I said, I think it's just my symptoms kind of bouncing around, and my stress levels sometimes do still get a little high. But when I was at my job, I felt like every day it was at like a 10, and now I feel like it's like a 3 to an 8. Sometimes it can reach 10. Don't get me wrong, but I've just come so far and I want to keep sharing my story. Cuz a lot of the times when I'm going through like what I went through this morning, I kind of shut down at first because it's just like a natural instinct. And then I start panicking. I'm like, "Oh no, am I like, did I do something wrong?" And you kind of just go down that loop, thought loop, and then you kind of spiral, which is what I used to do all the time. There was never a break. Um, but then I remind myself I'm safe. I'm not in danger, even though it hurts and it sucks. And you can acknowledge that, by the way, when you're doing this nervous system work, you can say it sucks. You don't have to fake it. I feel like a lot of people think when they go through this, they have to fake it. No, that's just part of the healing journey. Unfortunately, there's not always like fun, sunshiny testimonies to share. Sometimes it's the hard, raw um, truth. But I am able to calm myself down now. I'm able to know that there's hope and believe that it'll pass, and it does. Now, I do use over the counter medicine to help, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, by the way. If medicine works for you and you're able to find a medical reason for what you have, I totally think that's important. And I always like to say that because obviously I'm not a doctor, and I think it's important to talk with your doctors and make sure you have a good plan for whatever you're going through. So please know that that's still important and it's still something you shouldn't just toss away. Physical therapy is also very important if you have pelvic floor stuff. I would like to do a conversation about that in the future as well. Because I think I've dived into that a little bit in my other episodes, some of my episodes, but I don't think I've done like just an episode on PT. I'm still currently working on that as well. But my point is, this morning I had a rough time and I was supposed to do a episode with a really good person that I know, but I had to reschedule because I was up so early and I just wasn't feeling it. So I had to take a break, and I said, "We'll reschedule." And then this afternoon, I decided it might be just good to make an episode, at least since I'm feeling a little bit better with the medicine. But the point is, I'm sorry, I always go down like these rabbit holes. But the point is, sometimes things suck. And not everything in my life is beautiful and perfect and painless. I still have pain. I still have moments where I question everything because I feel like that kind of goes with the process. But I feel so different now than I did before when I go through these hard times. I still have those feelings come up, but I don't panic as fast. I don't beat myself up anymore. And I try to do things other than just be on my phone. Now, don't get me wrong, I did look at my phone, and that's been something I've been also working on the last year. And I've made a lot of progress. I've been able to walk away from my phone a lot more now and been able to kind of step away from social media and even just learn to be kind to myself and give myself self-love and learn to not need validation from anyone or anything. So very much proud of myself for that. Please remind yourself that you're proud of you because that's important in this journey. But the point I was trying to make is that this nervous system work and the things I'm teaching you are things that have been helping me through these hard times. I want you to know that I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to be like a switch and it's just going to change. I'm not saying I'm completely healed. That's why I'm sharing my story because I love seeing stories of people who have complete relief. I do. And please watch those videos if you feel like you're in a place to mentally, but only if you feel those are going to help you along the way. But I also think sharing my story also helps people to know, oh, they're still struggling too, but they have something that helps them along the way. And someday I will get relief, and so will you. It just looks different for everybody, as I've said and I've mentioned about like not comparing yourself. But I just kind of wanted to give you like an introduction to what I was trying to get at with some of this healing journey. But as far as the vagus nerve, I have some notes. And I'm going to go over that. And then I have a few announcements. I think I mentioned it in the episode I'm going to post on Spotify, but I didn't post it yet. And I'm trying the River, I think it's called Riverside app for podcasts. I don't pay for it or anything, so I'm not sure how many minutes it's going to give me. But I'm going to try it and see how it works out and see if I like it or not. But if not, I'll just go back to my old YouTube videos and figure it out that way. But anyway, So, the outline for today is understanding the vagus nerve. What is the vagus nerve? The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. It is a major part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls your rest and digest state. It helps regulate heart rate, digestion, breathing, immune response, and emotional regulation. Where is it located? The vagus nerve starts in the brainstem and travels down both sides of the neck, extends into the chest and the abdomen. It connects to the heart, lungs, and digestive tract. Signs that you may need to reset your vagus nerve: chronic stress or feeling stuck in fight or flight mode, which we talked about in my other episode, digestive issues or flares. I've been working on my vagus nerve because of that as well. High heart rate or shallow breathing, feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally reactive, trouble sleeping or feeling wired but tired. I've had all those feelings. I feel like we all have at one point in our lives. So, practice to support your vagus nerve. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that very well, but slow breathing. You know what I mean. Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 6 to 8 seconds. Breathing is very important, but I do think you need to take it slow, because if you're not someone that regularly does breathing exercises and you already have like a very tight like chest and you're not doing all this yet, it takes time to get to that point. When I first started doing the breathing exercises, I thought I was doing it wrong, and that probably made it worse for my body, to be honest. But I learned that you kind of just have to go at your own pace with breathing, so it takes time to get that really good inhale and exhale. So take your time with that. Humming, singing, or gargling, cold exposure, like I mentioned, cold water, ice pack, gentle yoga or stretching is really good. Physical therapy, depending on what your chronic thing is. Meditation or journaling, which I talked about Journal Speak before. I'd like to dive into that more too as I go on. And safe social connection and eye contact. These are just great ways to get your body feeling relaxed and back into a more relaxed state for your nervous system. And I just think these things are just a great thing to add to your toolbox when you're having hard moments. I think that's important to remember, that these things are not going to magically fix you, but they are a good, like, scientific thing that you can do to help, and it's literally a part of your body, so you're not like questioning it. I had never heard of the vagus nerve thing. So maybe for some people you've already heard this, you're already doing it, and that's great if you are. But for those of you who may not be doing it, or you're still learning like I was, this is a great thing. And some people may have already mentioned it to you. My PT was actually the first person, other than in the bladder group I'm in, to mention the vagus nerve. So yeah, those are some suggestions and techniques. I like to do also tapping. You can look that up. That's a great way to get your vagus nerve to calm down. They have K-tape that you can tape here. I haven't done that yet. I probably should. It's something you can do in PT as well to kind of help soothe that area. But yeah, that's it for that information. But I wanted to add one more time before I go that I will be going on Callie's podcast today. I think we're meeting at 2, and I hope you check it out. I will try to share it once I have the video, and I'm super nervous, but I know it's going to be good, and I know it's going to be good to share my story about how the program helped me and where I'm at with it. And I know someday I'm going to look back at this video and be like, wow, I've come a long way. I really encourage you to keep track of your progress and don't give up. Please keep pushing. You matter, you are valued, and you are important in this world, and these things will get better. Speak it into existence, please. I'm sending love your way. I hope you follow, like, comment, share, and check out my future podcast episodes. I will have my guests on soon. I might have one on tomorrow night, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But even if it's not this week, it will be in the future. So, yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week. And whenever you watch this, I hope you know that you're not alone. Thanks for watching Surviving and Thriving.